You've been so good to me. You know you make me wanna
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Today we're doing a Danganronpa execution ranking video, I guess you could say. There are going to be major spoilers. I'm going to be getting into very spoilers detail. So you know, if you haven't played Danganronpa, definitely don't watch this video. As you guys can see from the intro, I'm hyped for this. I definitely am excited for this and doing more Danganronpa content along the way. Definitely something I want to do. So for these executions, I don't really have a sort of well, actually I do. It's definitely, they really rank them in order of definitely my favorites, but also as in like how much they impacted me or the story, stuff like that. Definitely like how interested I was in the kills and stuff like that, how affected I was. So really they're just ranked from my favorites to my least favorites. So we're gonna be starting off. I got in total, I believe, 21 executions. I did get some from Ultra Spare Girls, and by some I only mean one. And really, these are executions that kill people, and most of the execution scenes from UDG are basically people that survive. So these are executions that kill, and I know there's gonna be one that really contradicts, but just let me do my list. So let's get into it. So starting off this list as the worst, you know, the worst execution in Danganronpa. That has to be number 21. Bye Bye Ouchie's Mikan Sumiki. I hate you. You killed my girl in the anime. I don't like you. This execution had potential. She was a nurse, so obviously it was gonna be something like, you know, hospital related. You know, the execution starts off with you know, Mikan in the hospital bed. Monokuma comes running with the big needle. You know, stuff like that. The floors fall apart, or the building falls apart, whatever it was, the room, and then the arm comes out, and then Monokuma stabs the arm with the needle a whole bunch of times, and you know, I guess she gets off on that. I don't know, but her face says she's really enjoying it, and then the arm proceeds to, you know, is apparently a rocket or something, and it just she gets fisted into space. That's it. She just gets fisted, and honestly, it's really sad because, you know, she killed Hiyoko and Ibuki. Well, I mean Hiyoko, whatever, but like Ibuki was like a good girl, and then like, you know, they get this terror. We don't even get to see Mikan die. Like, the whole point of the execution is to see them die. Like, hello? Like, she just flies off and Monokuma falls down to the floor, and that's pretty much it, really. You don't really see Mikan die, and really that defeats the whole point, the whole purpose of like the execution. We're here to see these gory deaths, you know. But anyways, number 21, Bye Bye Ouchie's Mikan Sumiki. Worst execution for the worst trial in the game. Coming down second to last, coming down number 20. This is going to be Excavator Destroyer Alter Ego. So, it's not really a person, but I guess you could say it is. It was an execution, and although I did say I was going to contradict myself, Alter Ego doesn't really die, but he does in a way. I don't really know. But Alter Ego's death was, was supposed to make them believe that they lost all hope because they were all relying on Alter Ego to find a way out of the school and stuff like that. So really seeing him die was also pretty sad. First of all, I thought he was gonna use Sakura's dead corpse when I first played through this, but it turned out it being Alter Ego. Pretty sad. Execution, it just smashes the laptop really, and then at the end, I don't know, somehow he turned it into a ball, and then he just puts a Monokuma eye on it. Pretty, I guess you could say unique. I don't know how a human would survive that. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, I got nothing else to say about Alter Ego. It was sad, but and the music was pretty creepy, especially at the beginning and the end. But it is what it is. Number 19, if you can even consider this an execution, I would say it would be considered execution because she does get executed by Monokuma, just not in the sense that it's an actual execution like the ones that we normally get. But this is going to be Mukuro Ikosaba. If the Spear of Gungear, however he pronounced it, the last name, did feel like I kind of knew the minute like she started talking. Like she's like, oh, you can't do this. We're gonna call the police and stuff like that. Definitely, those characters definitely are the first to die, the complaining ones. And the minute she stepped on Monokuma, he had already given them warnings and to Mondo and stuff like that. So she definitely had it coming, but she didn't know she had it coming. We knew she had it coming. She didn't know she had it coming. So definitely, the whole plan for that was, basically Mukuro was gonna get locked up, and they had to fight for her to see her again or something like that. I don't know exactly the whole plan, but she wasn't supposed to die, or at least that's what Junko told Mukuro. She wasn't supposed to die. But lo and behold, Junko, had her fingers crossed the whole time. Definitely betrayed her own sister, definitely. Which at first was, the first time I saw this, I'm like, it's like whatever, she deserved that, but like later on finding out that it wasn't really Junko, that was actually her sister, and that she was actually supposed to like live and stuff like that, definitely made that death feel more, whoa, if I do say so myself. Plus the spears came out of nowhere, so that kind of feels weird. And then seeing her, that for like when you find out that it's actually Mukuro, seeing her expression and her being like, oh, it wasn't supposed to be like this and stuff like that, like why me and stuff like that, it definitely brought some feelings, I guess you could say, of sadness. Like, wow, that really surprised, she really didn't expect that to happen. Really sad, but she definitely, she could have been considered a bad person in Danganronpa 1. So really, she tried to come. Number 18, this one's going to be an execution that wasn't really an execution, but at the same time it was. The whole, this is going to be the after-school lesson by Makoto and Kyoko. And the whole reason why I'm saying that it can and can't be considered an execution is because the whole Kyoko route, if you choose to pursue her lying caller out or her BS, she gets put in the chair and she gets like clapped, she literally clapped. She that whole ending, where Kyoko dies, isn't canon at all. And at first I did choose that one because I wasn't gonna die for Kyoko. Come on, the best girl was Kyoko actually, but I didn't want to die. So I did pursue her lie the first time I played through, and seeing her the whole the thing is they didn't turn around. So literally all you heard was the smashing of like something huge coming, getting louder, and they were getting closer to her, and seeing their face turn into like more and more like despair. I guess they turned more into despair. I don't know what the correct term is. And then so that wasn't really canon, but the death did happen, I guess you could say. And then in Makoto's like a little fantasy that he had there for a second. And then Makoto's side of this execution, he gets saved, so he doesn't really die. And the whole reason he gets saved is because Alter Ego was still alive, I guess you could say, or part of him was still alive. I'm still pretty confused because he does show up in Danganronpa 2, but Makoto does survive the execution. Monokuma's like, what? And then so I guess Alter Ego was biased towards Kyoko, and I don't know why Alter Ego wouldn't save Kyoko but would save Makoto. Ultimate luck, whatever. What else can you say, really? Number 17, this is going to be Deep Fried Teru Teru, and the whole reason I put this one here is because it's the first execution in DR2, and the first execution in, I guess you could say, in a Danganronpa game is supposed to like hook you, It's supposed to get you like to be like, whoa, surprised, like this isn't the game, It's weird because it is a game inside a game, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then so it's supposed to be the first execution, but this one doesn't hit you like in the feels like at all, or you know, it doesn't get you surprised or anything. It's just like, oh, you know, he gets shot with a few of the like a couple of like missiles that contain ingredients, and then you know he just picks him up with like a chain or something and dips him into a volcano. I thought it looked cool, but it didn't really hit me in the feels or anything like that. Like, you know, it didn't get me surprised to say, whoa, this isn't gonna get serious just like the first one or something like that. It didn't have that shock factor, you know. So really, this one was pretty meh. And forgive me if I say so, but you know, most of the kills, most of the executions in Danganronpa 2 aren't that like, you know, good. Next one we got is the burning of the Versailles Witch, or however, Versailles Witch, the burning of the witch, whatever, just call it burning of the witch. So basically, the burning of the witch. This one's really slow compared to like other executions. Literally, we stand looking in like complete darkness, and then everything just pops up, and then let's watch the fire slowly catch on, and then after that it fades to black, and then it fades back into Celeste burning. And you know, Celeste was one of those characters I didn't really like it like at all, because of her whole like, oh, I'm better than you attitude and stuff like that. Even towards the end, she thought she was better. I liked seeing her smile. You know, the whole reason Celeste was like happy during the execution was because, you know, she was going out in a unique way. You know, she's like, if you're gonna go out, go with a bang. And then seeing the fire truck, you know, Monokuma doing his thing, runs her over. Celeste dies in a car crash. One of the most like common ways to die. Definitely one look both ways crossing the street. You know, Celeste wasn't. Number 15. This one's a weird one, like really weird, like Mondo, but a weird. So the Cage of Death. The Cage of Death, definitely, like, I don't know what it is about this. It just feels like it's, like, after the first execution, this one felt pretty, like, I don't know, the whole motorcycle thing and stuff like that. I thought he was gonna do tricks or stuff like that, but he just ran him into, like, a little circular, like, the sphere thing. I don't know what the correct term is. With the motorcycle kept running, he kept going in circles, and then the whole metal thing, the whole, like, sphere he was in started like glowing and stuff like that. I think it's radiation or stuff like that, but at the same time, I don't know if he would get turned into butter. Maybe it wasn't actually butter, but the lid said butter, and he actually turned into some sort of like bloody, messy, fleshy liquid thing. Why did he turn into actual butter? I have no idea. This one's weird. Definitely Danganronpa. Number 14. This one's probably gonna get me a lot of hate, but you know, I don't really like Gundham Tanaka. I thought he was cool, but he's not like my top tier favorite characters. So this is gonna be Gundham Tanaka Stampede. This one was pretty sad towards the end, but I thought it was pretty cool. This was the only time I thought Gundam was pretty cool. You know, when he was drawing the little transmutation circle, I guess you could say, on the ground with the stick, while Monokuma and the animals were getting closer and closer. You know, he put the hamsters on the side, so that's pretty cool. The hamsters did live, by the way, or were the hamsters part of the Neo World program too? I don't know. You know, so basically the animals run Gundam over, he flies over them or something, I don't know. He does get hit by them, and then he lands with his hamsters, and the hamsters approach him, and then this is where it gets weird. Flying the angel animals come down from the sky, and then they start like picking Gundam up, and then just pick him up, and then just take him to heaven. They take him to heaven. I thought it was really sad towards the end, you know, with the hamsters and Monokuma looking like into the distance, and then Gundam in the background saying that he's like dead. And it was a sort of Western film, and I really liked that feel. Seeing the hamsters really sad did make me sad too. So there was that too. Number 13. This is another character I wasn't really fond of, like at all. But this is also our first DRV3 execution. I know it took us to the number 13 spot to get our first one here, but you know, V3 actually has some pretty good executions. So this is going to be Cultura Melting Pot. Karekyo Shinguji, or however you pronounce his last name. This one was also pretty weird. Kind of weird that there's always that one weird execution in one of these games, but you know, for some reason DR2 has that all of them are weird or something. As the majority of them are weird. So basically they spin Kyo around. I don't know why, probably to mix up his insides, and then they drop him into a pot, and then the mono kid starts throwing like firewood into the pot to burn the fire, you know, to heat up the fire. Burning Kyo in the inside, definitely a horrific way to go out, you know. BA3 has some seriously messed up kills. And then Monodam for some reason runs into the fire, and then I did like the shot of like Kyo slowly like falling in, you know, he's like dipping in even like every now and then. definitely. I think my headcanon is that his feet are melting, and you know his feet melted to the point where like he's just falling. You know, the part of him, and then he just completely falls in, comes out a ghost. This is where it gets weird. He becomes a ghost, and then his sister arrives, and then Monokuma shows up with like a I know the pitcher of salt or whatever it is. And then they both start murdering Kyo, which I think is weird, but it's also pretty funny that they did that. I don't know how they did that in because if Danganronpa V3 is supposed to be like our world, how would that have been real? That would have been some special effects, something like that, for the people watching at home. But you know, Kyo did, you know, and Monokuma is like, then the camera pans out and it shows Monokuma hanging, you know, with Kyo's sister. So I thought that was pretty funny at the end. Number 12, this is a really disappointing spot, but there was one really good scene in this execution that really just was the icing on the cake. And this is going to be the ultimate punishment. This was a really disappointing execution for me because it's the last execution in the first game, and not to mention it's the main villain of the whole series, you know, Junko Enoshima, the person who started this whole mess. And, you know, she just goes through all the executions that the other characters went through in the first game, you know, the 1000 blows, the break the cage of death, the burning of Versailles Witch, the Excavator Destroyer, After School Lesson is the last one. That's the one that's the icing on the cake because we actually get to see that one happen, you know. And oh yeah, she also does blast off. I almost forgot about that one. And then what is it? And then the After School Lesson is the icing on the cake. Really, they could have just done that and then that would have been it, you know. This is really disappointing. And you know, we see Junko like sitting on a chair and she's all happy, and then you know the thing slows down, and then it just automatically her face changes. I guess she got like surprised or bored or something. I don't know. And then the thing crushes her and she's done. You know, she's done. I wish it could have been more tremendous. I don't know, just me, my statistics side, but you know, it is what it is, and what are you gonna do? Number 11, this is the other Junko's execution. This is AI Junko's execution, actually. Junko's real death, basically, I guess you could say her second death, or actual death, because after this she doesn't really come back. But this is going to be forced shutdown sequence at the end of Danganronpa 2. This one was definitely, in my opinion, better. It felt more anime-ish, especially because the whole, you know, we're in a game, so why not? Plus it brought Usami back, so that was pretty surprising. And Usami really kicked Junko's ass, by the way. You know, she really shows her who's the real AI in the program. I don't know, there was something really, like, amusing to watch, like, Usami, this little rabbit, beat, like, this giant, like, a 50, what did she say it was? I don't know, she was huge. And then, you know, watching her like Usami fly around, and then you know, tying her up. That was that Junko, by the way. And then you know, she draws like another magic circle, and then that blows up AI Junko, and I thought that was really satisfying to watch. And that's the end of Junko Enoshima, thankfully. I know V3 is a thing, but you know, that's not Junko. So now we're going into our top 10. This one's actually going to be surprising. This one's going to be from UDG, and the only UDG execution, because it's the only execution where someone actually dies, and this is going to be Yuta Asahina. And you know, this one doesn't really have a name, so it's an unnamed execution. You can call it whatever you want. Call it, I don't know, a liquid explosion or something, something like that. I don't know. And then you know, this one didn't really catch me by surprise, but it was sad to see that, you know, Asahina's brother died. I kind of knew from the minute the bridge gave out that, you know, he was going to like try to swim over, and I kind of had an idea in my head that if these guys try to get out of the city, the bracelets would probably blow up or something like that, and that happened. I don't know what they were expecting. That one didn't really catch me by surprise. It was pretty sad to see him go, but you know, he wasn't that smart, and you know, neither is his sister, I guess. And I kind of thought that Toko knew that like something like that would happen, but she didn't really try to stop him. So I don't know what gives Toko. Why didn't you stop him? It was also really despair-inducing for Komaru to see that had happened. Seeing the look on her face, she was like horrified that she had just witnessed that, you know. So definitely that did hit, and it did affect Komaru a lot. Number 9, this one's going to be the first ever execution we've ever seen, and this is going to, people actually forget about this one. I count it as an execution, even though it's a character we didn't really know. And this is Blast Off Jin Karagiri's execution, you know, first ignition. The one that basically you press start on the game, and it's the first scene you see ever, like, at all. And, you know, so basically he's tied up, this man's blindfolded, pretty horrified actually. He's pretty scared, you know, he doesn't want to go out like this. You know, and then he gets in a rocket, he gets put in the rocket ship, and the rocket ship just flies up, and then on the way down, it boosts down, and then the capsule opens up to reveal that it's just a skeleton. So can you imagine how fast he was traveling? to like get his skin ripped off. That's pretty horrifying. He was probably awake there the whole time. So definitely that's one that really affected me, by the way, because it's the first thing you see when you start the game, and that's how you captivate an audience. Number 8, this is going to be the 1000 Blows, Leon Kawada's execution. This one really affected me the first time I saw it. This is how you know the game was going to be serious, when you knew that like execution like that was pretty horrifying. You know, getting beaten to death by a bunch of baseballs is pretty scary. I don't know about you, but you know, one like really well thrown, really strongly thrown, fast thrown, whatever. One really well thrown like baseball is enough to give you a black eye. So can you imagine 1,000 of them? Definitely didn't deserve this painful death, but you know, this really like freaked me out the first time I saw this. I was like, whoa, you know, this game is not for children. This game is being taken seriously. You know, definitely. At first it starts off slow, and then it starts beating his body with a whole bunch of other baseballs, and then you know, after that it moves on to his face at the end, and then the scene of like everyone, like the camera zooming out or something to reveal everyone's like scared or horrified expression to them. Then they realize that this is real life, you know. And then you know, and then it zooms out, and then it shows Leon's body to like, and then like everyone surrounding him, and that's a really well shot like scene, and I really love that execution. This is honestly my favorite execution from DR1. This is also the last execution on this list from DR1. So moving on to number 7, we're back to DRV3. This is going to be Wild West Insecticide, a really sad execution. You know, a character that did not deserve to die, and it's Gonta Gokuhara. So definitely, like I said before, he didn't deserve this. Gonta was a good boy. Yeah, the execution starts out with Gonta, like, I guess you could say being crucified, I guess you could say. I don't know, he was definitely chained up to a wooden stake. Him and alter ego Gonta. I forgot about the alter ego Gonta. He definitely dies in this too. So, you know, he's getting shot with, I believe they're like wasp or something. And then his face, you know, he's shot with a whole bunch of them. His face is all like, you know, messed up and stuff like that from all the bug bites and stuff like that. And meanwhile, the mono kids, I don't know, Mono Fanny, I believe her name. The female mono kid is giving birth to some giant insect, which is just weird. And then when the insect does explode from her body, it kills the Monotaro for some reason. I don't know why. So Monotaro also dies in this one. And then it charges towards Gonta and it stabs him with this giant like knife hands or whatever, Slifer, whatever the Pokemon name is called. I don't care. And then Gonta definitely did not deserve to go out like that. And it wasn't a slow death either, because Monokuma burns him to death. Number 6, this is another pretty like despair-inducing one. This is Strand of Agony, Kurumi's execution. This one was pretty interesting because Kurumi starts the execution by running away from like people that want to like, I don't know, I guess you could say impeach her from the office, I guess you could say, you know, force her to quit. And then she, like, this thorny vine comes down and she starts climbing it. This girl has determination to live, you know, she doesn't want to go out, so she starts climbing. I don't know how I'd be able to do that, but she, you know, from the first moment she touched it, she started bleeding. And then these saws come out of nowhere, and she's still determined to cross through it. You know, she has that determination to live. This one was really, you know, painful to watch, because as she kept going, she kept on suffering. You know, she kept on getting cuts all over her body and stuff like that. Definitely painful to watch, especially that yell that she does when she, at the final, like, saw cuts her, stuff like that. So then we cut to, like, later, and her body's all cut up, dude. All those, like, scratches and cuts and stuff like that. Even her face, I don't know how they cut her face. And then she reaches the top, and then as she sticks her hand out because she sees the light, it's just a picture with a cockroach on it, and the vine is about to snap, and it does. So poor Kurumi falls all the way down the well. I think it was a well. She falls all the way down. Meanwhile, Monodam kicks Monosuke into line of fire, and you know, she falls on top of him. Definitely her back explodes, and then the picture falls down on top of her, and it just gets soaked in her blood. Definitely one of the most painful executions to watch. Coming up on my top 5, this is going to be the one-woman army, Peko Pekoyama. So this one's pretty interesting actually, because like most of these executions that I have left are ones that like probably like affected me the most, and this one's pretty sad too, because before this execution, Fuyuhiko does not want Peko to leave, and he starts crying and bawling, and she starts bawling, and I start bawling. So this one was pretty sad to watch, and it was also pretty interesting too, because no one else since this point had interfered in an execution, or at least been in an execution, other than, you know, the Blackened. So Fuyuhiko actually stepping in, trying to save Peko, or I don't know what he was trying to do, but he definitely ran in. And then having her, like, Monokuma is such a jerk, but he, like, I guess, so she slices an enemy, but little does she know that he was behind the enemy, and it also kind of cut his, like, left side or right side, I don't even know which side. You know, that being her last moments, like, knowing that she herself, like, you know, gravely injured her, you know, master, I guess you could say she was calling him, is definitely what Monokuma probably had planned at the beginning, you know, have her die with, like, despair, like that. Her biggest regret was probably hurting him in that moment, stuff like that, you know. I think she thought she had already killed him, I don't know. Fuyuhiko didn't die, thank the Lord. He definitely became one of my favorite characters, so that's how you know you did some major character development, especially because he was such a jerk in like the first two chapters that I read. Coming up on our number 4, this is going to be Kaito Momota, Luminary of the Stars Execution, Blast Off Second Ignition. This one was, I was happy to see this one. I don't know why. I was happy, at the same time I was pretty sad because Kaito was getting executed, and especially the same way that the Jin Kirigiri was going to go out. That was pretty sad. So Kaito starts off this execution coughing, and the capsule closes in on him, the rocket ship, whatever you can call it. And then it starts flying up, and then all of a sudden it stops, flips upside down, starts digging into the ground. Definitely a good way to pull a 180 on people who were expecting that for it to just fly up. So it starts drilling down, and then like as it goes down, it starts passing through the ground. You know, we see like fossils and stuff like that. He goes through the lava, so that means he made it to the center of the earth, and then he comes out the other end. Probably it came out from China or something, whatever, it doesn't really matter. And then you know, he still ends up in space, it's just upside down now. And then you know, once he gets to like top, camera flips back. As it's about to like fall down, I'm guessing like it was gonna be the same thing as Jin's, Kaito dies in space. This one really, like, you know, the execution didn't kill him. Kaito literally died from natural causes, you know? I wouldn't say natural causes, he was purposely infected with the virus and stuff like that. But he beat Monokuma's execution, and this is really game-changing because Monokuma didn't get the satisfaction of killing someone the way he wanted. Not to mention, this also changes the plot for chapter 6, as when Kibo comes back down, a rock knocks off Kibo's antenna, or a hoge, whatever you pronounce it. Technically it was an antenna. And then the capsule opens, revealing Kaito's dead body. Monokuma gets pissed, and honestly that was really satisfying to see. You know, even though Kaito died, even in death, he still beat Monokuma's execution. These are the last top 3, and for our 3rd spot we have Ultimate Annihilation. So this is Tsumugi, Kibo's, Shuichi Maki's, and Himiko's, and Monokuma's execution. And it's pretty sad to see Kibo and it's pretty sad to see Kibo die. He definitely blows himself at the end. It's pretty sad to see Kibo die. Not so much Tsumugi, and thankfully the other 3 didn't die. You know, Tsumugi does her Junko waving impression, and then the rock falls down in front of him, revealing that it's Tsumugi and Monokuma waving by, and then splat, they go kaput, you know, they're done. You know, we don't need, I was happy to see that she purposely killed Kairi, so you know, I was happy to see that. And then while Kibo's flying around, you know, blowing up the whole thing, and then at the last couple of scenes, I guess you could say, he shoots out this big laser that slices the whole thing in half. Then he looks down, and then there's some rocks moving, indicating that maybe, you know, 3 of the characters survived. And then Kibo smiles, and then as he flies off into the wall, he activates the self-destruct sequence on his suit or his body, and then he blows himself up, opening a gateway to reality for the other 3 characters that survived. And honestly, watching this, thank God we didn't see the other 3 characters die, because that was pretty sad. That would have been even sadder, actually, you know, watching them die. And you know, seeing them alive at the end, and Shuichi saying, them talking about how come we're alive. Shuichi's like, maybe this is the will of the outside world that wanted us to live and stuff like that. I definitely didn't want it to live. So that kind of made me feel like involved, even though it's supposed to be, because it's supposed to be portraying our world. They are characters that were selected from our world to participate in this game. It's basically our world. If Danganronpa became that popular, to start like making actual killing games. So seeing Shuichi and Himiko and Maki live at the end was definitely beautiful. Definitely one of my favorite scenes in all of Danganronpa was seeing them smile towards the camera at the end. Number 2, this one's really painful for me. These last 2 executions are some that like I've only seen the first time, and that's how much like that's how much I can't watch them. And this one right here is Chiaki's execution. Please insert coin. This one started off pretty cool. I did like the whole game references. You had Galactica, and then you had Pac-Man, and then Tetris at the end. God, this makes me not want to play those games anymore. But it has Monokuma in a tank shooting the clones of Monomi, wielding them down, and Chiaki looks up. She sees the door that says exit, so she runs towards it, bringing in like along with a couple of Monomi clones, stuff like that. Monokuma breaks the wall, revealing that it's a Pac-Man monster thing now. And then she runs to another exit door, and then she hits herself along with Monomi, the last Monomi, on a glass window, and then the door behind them like lowers, and then they're trapped. They have no exit of getting out, and then a block falls, and then the camera pans out. It reveals that it's Tetris. So this one, it was slow, definitely slow to watch. All those blocks fall down one by one. You knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. There was no way she could get out, and she knew it too. She made peace with that. And watching her and then her eyes slowly open at the end, really killed me, and then the last block falls on her, and then she's gone, and then the whole thing blows up. Even though this isn't the real Chiaki, I had said from the beginning of the game, this is best girl, and she was best girl, and to watch her get killed at the end was really painful. As with everyone who had a wife or a best girl died for them, Danganronpa is definitely one of those games that it doesn't matter who you are, you're gonna get got, you're gonna get faded, however, you're gonna get dusted, and it's one of those games that doesn't hold punches. Especially Kodaka doesn't pull punches. He knew Chiaki was a character that was made to be loved, by people like us, gamers, I guess you could say. And I think he had a plan to kill her from the start. Definitely sad to see her death in the Danganronpa 3 anime. Definitely, like I said before, this is one of the executions that doesn't matter who you are, it's gonna happen. And that definitely proves my point with this first execution at our number 1 spot. Coming down to our number 1 spot, this is going to be Der Flow Waltzer. Kaede Akamatsu's execution. I can't watch this execution without tearing up, or at least, feeling like a part of me just died. I've only seen this execution like twice. First time I saw it, I was in shock. I couldn't believe it. I'm sure you were all in shock too. There was no way I could have believed that Kaede was the blackened, the killer. I did like the trial. First trial is probably one of my favorite trials in all of Danganronpa. V3 definitely takes the stakes and turns them up to like 11. It does everything. V3 is definitely like a great game out of the 3. It's definitely up there. My favorite would be Danganronpa 2, even though it has. I'm not here to talk about games. Kaede's execution is what we're here for, and definitely it's painful to watch her suffering. She's on the piano keys, she's getting hung. Definitely one painful to watch, and then the camera just makes it worse by showing us her face, and she's struggling to like hold on. Her face turns purple, and then she just passes out. I don't think the hanging probably did kill her, and if Monokuma didn't think it was enough, he slams the piano on her, and just making things worse. Literally one of the worst executions I've ever seen for one of the most kindest characters in all of Danganronpa. I don't know what to say. Definitely one that showed you no mercy from the beginning, and right away these characters were in some deep trouble. But that's Danganronpa. So anyways, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am hoping to do more Danganronpa videos in the future. I do have some more Dark Souls coming. I don't know when, but I do have a lot of Danganronpa videos that I want to do, more ideas, probably ranking my favorite games, talking about them with you guys. Definitely want to do a truth bullets on those too. I also would like to do a trial ranking, maybe a chapter ranking maybe. I don't know, depends on you guys. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys. See you ladies and gentlemen in the next one. See y'all later.